Hi, this is Jeff Evans from Evans Performance Academy. We're going to be taking a look at some basics with our PC Link software so you can get started with your Link G5 or G4X system. Without further wait, let's jump in to check this out. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with our calibration files in our PC Link software in conjunction with our Link G5 and G4X systems because the software is dual purpose for both G5 and G4X. Now, the purpose of this tutorial is going to be taking a look at doing proper file saving and structuring, taking a look at doing a upload for the G5 with the calibration file. We're going to take a look at how to open a calibration file in the offline mode, and then also looking at encrypting a file as well as setting up our note section in the file so we can keep ourselves organized and understand what was done and vehicle details associated to the calibration file we're working with. So these are very basic details, but very important, and it's good that you get into a habit of keeping yourself organized and structured in your calibrating and tuning. Now, if you're tuning your own vehicle, it may not be super important. If you're going to be professionally calibrating and tuning vehicles, it's critical that you keep yourself organized when you're doing your tuning, saving your files, because it can be a huge mess if you don't know where your files are going to and not saving things in logical order. Okay, let's take a look at the very basics here, and that's going to be saving our files properly. Now, if we go here to the file option in our dropdown, we're going to find we have a save, save as, and save as encrypted. We're going to take a look right now, keep it basic, is just doing a save option. Save as, we'll talk about what that means here in a little bit, and save as encrypted, that's going to be a specific situation. Let's go here to save. Now, what it's going to do is try to save the file that I have currently loaded in the software. So if we close this out real quick, this calibration file is the default from Link as it's shipped with my G5 box. I haven't changed anything. It will not start the engine I'm working with here, which is a Honda K24 engine. So what we're going to do right now is just save this as the original file. I don't really have any use for it, but let's just save it for good practice. What I want to do is create a subfolder for this project. So we're going to save the calibration file to, so I can grab that for my project, my K24 swapped EP3 Civic here. And I want to be able to go back in and have this as a reference for whatever reason. So again, we're just doing this as an exercise right now. All right, so if I go here to File and I go to Save, first thing we're going to note, it points us towards a specific location on our laptops. This is important because you want to know where your file is going to so you can retrieve it at a later point in time. Right here we can take a look, it's going to the C drive, Link G4X, PC Link G4X base maps. This is going to save it to a G4X specific location. Now we're dealing with a G5 software. So what I want to do is actually change where it's going to automatically save files to a different location. How do we do that? Pretty simple. Let's close this window out. We're going to go up here into our options and then go into our preferences. Under preferences, we'll go here to directories. Directories, we can see this is where when you do file save for a calibration file, it'll automatically save to this base map location. What we're going to do here is change that location. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to go to Documents, and then I'm going to save it to my link folder that I've created here already. So this is probably not going to be present on your laptop. You'd have to go in here and say New Folder, create a link folder, and then double click on that link folder, and now it's going to automatically generate this location for any file savings. Now I have just a handful of projects and files saved to this directory. I use a couple different laptops for tuning, so this is the location on this particular laptop I'm using for filming right now that I have my files going to. So this is a centralized location that I know and I can locate pretty easily. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just say select folder. Now we can see it's changed Home Documents Link, so we can see that's going to be that directory. Click OK. So now if I go to File and I go to Save, it's going to put me into that directory automatically. So I don't have to think about going in and hunting down the directory and then saving it right there. It does that already. The next step here is going to be creating a folder within this location for the project we're working with. This allows me to go retrieve the files from a subfolder for my project or vehicle. We can see I have client names or different projects saved here. These are all unique files that I've worked with in the past. I can easily differentiate where I want to go find for files for different cars because I have it saved that way. So hopefully it makes sense in terms of the structuring. So I'm going to say new folder here, and let's just call this EPA G5, and we'll say K24 Civic. And now we're going to double click in this folder, and I'm going to save the file name as something unique. In this case, I'll say original G5 calibration, just so I have this saved. Again, I don't have any purpose for it, but I'll have it saved. So I'll click enter, and that automatically saves it. Now, when you save the file, you'll find up here at the top, it's going to break down the directory of where to find that file. Before, we just saw PC Link Engine Management here, and there was nothing after that. Now it's telling me the file has been saved and where it's saving to. Here's the next step. This is the original file. Anytime I'm connecting to a link, I will save the original file out as original. The next thing that I'm going to do here is use the next option, File Save As. I'm going to create a new file name and a new file so I don't overwrite on top of the original file that was loaded in the link. Again, if you're connecting to a car that's been tuned by another tuner, don't overwrite that file. You never know what you may need to reference from the file in terms of, let's say, an input or output. So what we'll do right now, File, Save As. Here, it's going to allow me to save to the same subfolder, but as a new name. So now, again, I can't overwrite on top of that original file. If I go down here, take a look, we're going to find EPA G5 K24 Civic. Double click in the folder, you can find that original file exists. Here, I'm going to just call this base file. Save it as a new name. Save it whatever you'd like to save it as. If I click enter here, it's now saved it to a new name, and we can actually see the status of that right here. It's showing base file. So from here, I'm able to go in, and anytime I'm updating and calibrating and tuning over a period of time, I can go to File and I can click Save, and I can save the file to the location. Now, what I would recommend doing, since you've created a subfolder for your project and you've created a unique file name, anytime you're saving, I would recommend to change the file name. So for example, if I go in, I start doing maybe some cranking fuel tuning and some idle control tuning, I will save that. So I'll go to File and I'll go to Save As, and I'll save that as, let's just say, idle tuning. So let's go back in here. Again, assuming I actually made those changes, I haven't made any changes yet, but just to do demonstration here, I'll change that name here to idle tuning, and I have that saved. So now we can see that name has changed to idle tuning. What this allows me to do is, if I'm not happy with my current state of how my engine's running on the calibration file, I can go back to the base map file, let's say, that I had things configured in, and start over again. Link does not give you stepping stones to move back in the calibration process. It's your responsibility as a calibrator and tuner to keep yourself organized and save in segments and steps during the tuning process. So it's important that you get in the habit of proper file structuring and proper file saving, so you can retrieve the file and you're able to go move forward or backwards in the calibration and tuning process. So hopefully it makes sense. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is show you how to encrypt the file. This is going to be useful if you're a professional tuner and you want to make sure that your file can't be distributed to other users. So if you pass your file along to your client, let's say you email it to them, or even if they connect to the link and they read the file out, they're able to pass that file to others. Let's say someone else, a friend of theirs, has a similar setup. Maybe they don't want to pay you for tuning. In that case, they can take the file and pass it over to them. They can load the file right into their box. We're going to take a look at how to upload a file here in just a minute. But they're able to do that upload and essentially bypass you and not use their services at all. You can ensure that the file can't be distributed to anyone other than the original owner of the box, and you can pair the file to the serial number. This is useful, again, to make sure that people can't distribute your work. How do you do this? Simple. Let's go here to File. Let's go to Save as Encrypted. Save as Encrypted is going to allow us to save this file. What I'm going to do right now is save that back to the location here. And let's just say idle tuning, and we'll call this encrypted. Okay, so we're just going to note that in here that it's an encrypted file. Obviously, we're saving it to our laptops. This is what we would pass on to someone else. Now, it's going to ask me the serial number. automatically prompts up here. This is my G5 serial number. If I click OK, the file saves successfully. If I emailed this file over to the client, they could upload it to that specific serial number box, but they can't pass it along to anyone else. In terms of someone else can open it and look at it, but they're not able to easily load the file into another link system. So that's a nice feature. Again, if you don't, we want to do a little bit of protection on your intellectual property that you've calibrated into it with your file. Okay, let's go take a look at a few additional things. If we go in our drop down here to File and Show Memo. Show Memo is going to be the note section paired with the calibration file. So when you click OK and then you do a save, it'll save anything in the note section here. Anytime you open up the file again, you can go and take a look at what that memo shows, and that will be paired to the file. So in here, I usually put in details of the engine configuration, let's say the compression ratio, the fuel I'm tuning on, maybe what size turbo it has. The other important details would be spark plug type and gap, base fuel pressure. So things of importance that you would want to refer back to after you've tuned a vehicle, let's say a year or two later. You're not going to remember those details. So putting them in your memo and note section is something that I absolutely recommend to do. So we could just type in here, Honda K24 engine, it's 12.5 to 1 compression, and stock cams. I have RDX 410cc injectors, drop-in fuel pump, flex fuel sensor, fuel pressure sensor, stock map sensor. So again, just putting some of these details in here. And then if I click OK here and we go into save, now it's going to save that memo to the file. If I go here to File and I say Show Memo, I can go back in and take a look at the information. So the note memo section is something I definitely recommend to populate with some information that's important. Okay, so let's close that out. Now, what we're going to do next is learn how to upload a calibration file to our Link G5. So this is the original file, and we've saved it obviously as idle tuning here, encrypt it, but let's go in here and let's take a different file that we've already saved and upload it. So this is going to be, in a situation where we want to replace whatever's in the box from in this case, it's the default file from Link. It could be a tune file from another tuner, or maybe you're working with somebody doing remote tuning and they're sending you a file to test and to upload. This would be the process. You're going to go in. As you're connected to the Link, this is important, we're in the online state. Right now I'm sitting in my vehicle, ignition key powered on, and the engine's off, but I'm in the online state. If I open another file, Link's going to ask me if I want to open in the offline mode or open it and overwrite and upload that to the box. That's what I want to do here. So if we go here to File and we go to Open, let's go in here to our directory and just load one of these other files. Let's go back and load the original file. So we're going to select this file, and then it's going to ask me, select yes to open the file and download the settings to the ECU, essentially uploading the file to the box, or no to disconnect the ECU before opening the file. And that'll allow you to look at the file in the offline mode. It does not open it and send it to the Link. All right, let's click yes here, and what this is going to do, it's going to download the data to the ECU. See file open, download successful. You wish to carry out a store command on the ECU. So once we allow that data to download into the Link, we generally want to go ahead and perform a store. That makes sure the data is hard saved onto the ECU's memory, so when the power is shut down on the G5 box, it's not going to lose the information that we've just sent to it. Otherwise, if we don't perform a store, when we shut the power off, turn the power on again, that data won't be permanently stored to the ECU's memory. So it's important that we do a store. So now we see the store is implemented, and give that a second, it'll reconnect here. And now we can find that calibration file name found up here at the top. That's what's been loaded to the ECU. So that would be the process if you want to load a new file to your Link and bypass whatever was on the Link previously. Now, let's go in here real quick, and I'm going to shut off the power to my G5 box here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the ignition key off. Now, we can see in this case, it's showing that I'm offline. Power's off. If I want to go take a look at a different calibration file now, I'm in the offline state. I'm able to do so. It's not going to load to the Link because I'm obviously not connected live. If I go here to File, Open, and let me go ahead and just open up a completely different file so we can just take a look here. I'm just going to grab another calibration file and let that load. So now we're looking at a Evo 9 specific file that I tuned for a client, and I'm in the offline mode. I have not loaded this to the G5. It's just simply something we're viewing in this offline state. This is useful if you want to take a look at things, not necessarily overwriting them to your link box. You can, as we just saw before where that screen popped up, you can be connected to the link and open up a file not loaded to the ECU, but it's going to put you in this offline mode. All I need to do right now to get online is turn the power back on my G5. It'll reconnect, and it's not going to have this calibration file present on the screen anymore. It's going to open up whatever is loaded and stored to the link. Okay, so now we've went through some of these basic details of saving our files, encrypting them, using the notes, learning how to upload, learning how to open the files in the offline mode. So these are all very basic but important details that we have to get out of the way in order to move forward with our training course here. Thanks for watching our tutorial. If you're interested in learning more about how to tune your Link G5 or G4X system, check out the video description below where you can find links to our school, some promo codes to get you started and save some money. If you're interested in learning more about Link engine management products, also check out the video description below. That's going to wrap it up here. I hope to see you guys in our school.